Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajikacharya Astatatar Shata Sri Shrimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivajikacharya Astatatar Shata Sri Shrimad Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Founder Acharya of Iskcon Srila Prabhupada Ki Iskcon Guru Vrinda Ki Prem Shiko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vaishali Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Shri Radha Madhava Dham Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Yamuna Devi Ki Gangamai Ki Shrimati Tulsi Maharani Ki Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki, the most merciful Lordship Shri Shri Nitai Chaitanya Chandra Nitai Gaur Chandra Ki, Shri Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari Ki, and the most beautiful Lordship Shri Shri Radha Leela Madhava Ki. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories the assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Agyantamarandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Danati Swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavani Pashtade Shatarane Vanchakopa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavinyebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So picking up, we have quite a few verses actually, 2 through 11. So, yes, but there are no purports. Is that correct? I think that they did chapter 84 of text 1 on Monday, yesterday. On Saturday. Okay, I beg your pardon. So then we're just doing texts 10 and 11. I beg your pardon. Yes, we'll do so. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nahyam tirtani na deva mrichilamaya te punanti urukalena darshanad eva sadavaha Nahyamayani tirtani Nadevamrichilamaya Te punanti urukalena Darshanad eva saranaha. Please chant. He, indeed, up of water, Mayani, composed, Tirtani, holy places, Na, not, Devaha, deities, Mrit, of earth, Shila, and stone, Maya, composed, Te, they, Punanti, purify, Urukalena, after a long time, Darshanat, by being seen, Eva, only, Sadhavaha, saints. Translation, and I'll pick up with text 10 here and read the whole thing. Translations and purports by the servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. How is it that people who are not very austere and who recognize God only in His deity form in the temple can now see you, touch you, inquire from you, bow down to you, worship your feet, and serve you in other ways? Text 11. Mere bodies of water are not the real sacred places of pilgrimage, nor are mere images of earth and stone the true worshipable deities. These purify one only after a long time, but saintly sages purify one immediately upon being seen. Purport. Because the personality of Godhead is absolute, the Supreme Spirit, any representation of Him, whether manifested in stone, paint, sound, even pixels, now we have pixels, since Srila Prabhupada penned this down, or spoke it down. Whether manifested in stone, paint, sound, or any other authorized medium, is non-different from His original form in the topmost spiritual planet, Goloka Vrindavan. But ordinary demigods are not absolute, being infinitesimal spirit souls. And thus, representations of the demigods are not identical with them. Worship of demigods or ritual bathing in a sanctified place gives only limited benefit to those who lack transcendental faith in the Supreme Lord. On the other hand, great Vaishnava saints like Vyasadeva, Narada, and the four Kumaras are always absorbed in Krishna consciousness, and thus they are veritable moving tirthas, or places of pilgrimage. Even a moment's association with them, especially by hearing their glorification of the Lord, can deliver one from all material entanglement. As King Yudhisthira said to Vidura, Bhavad vidha bhagavatas tirtabhutas svayam vibho tirti kurvanti tirtani svanta stena gadabirta. Quote, My Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified. Because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart, you turn all places into places of pilgrimage. So this scene in Kurukshetra, and again I bring up the fact that Kurukshetra we know as a battlefield now. But at this time, it wasn't known as a battlefield. It was a holy place of pilgrimage. It still is. but for other reasons now. I mean, we know that the Bhagavad Gita was given there, so it's, it's really, and many, many souls were delivered as well on that battlefield by seeing Lord Krishna and being dispatched from this world while gazing upon him. But prior to that, it wasn't known as a battlefield at all. It was known as a very ancient holy place of pilgrimage. And during times that were auspicious or sometimes even inauspicious, at this time there's an eclipse happening. And it was the custom, and still is, that during an eclipse people will go to a holy place of pilgrimage. If possible, if not, they'll go to their local temple or their house temple and chant Hare Krishna, chant the Lord's holy names or some other auspicious mantras during the eclipse, so as to reap. I don't know if that's my phone. I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. Could one of you go back and shut my phone down? I think that's possibly my phone. Oh, it's yours, okay. Never mind, Doug. Doug, it's okay, yeah. Yeah, you can, but sorry about the interruption. So, they would chant Hare Krishna or other auspicious mantras, chant the Lord's holy names in order to circumvent any inauspiciousness during the time of the eclipse, time of the dark moon even, and to actually bring about auspiciousness during those times. So this was one of those eclipses that was, according to our acharyas, that was slated to be a mega event, like unto an eclipse that happens in concert with a deluge, with a great deluge or a destruction of the material world, of the earth, or partial destruction of the universe. And so this was a biggie, and they went to this pilgrimage site to chant the Lord's holy names. And both members of the Yadava dynasty and the Vrishni dynasty and the residents of Vrajabhumi came. And of course, the residents of Vrajabhumi were there primarily to see Lord Krishna, who is the ultimate place of pilgrimage. And Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that anything that's associated with Lord Krishna, especially his image in stone or paint or any authorized medium. Now, I mentioned we have pixels, so we can look at the images on our computers and phones. These are non-different from Krishna. They are Lord Krishna himself. Sound vibration, the sound vibration of the Shastra, of his holy names. These are non-different from the Lord himself. So when we are taking association of our lordships, when we are taking association of Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam like we are this morning, when we're chanting the Lord's holy names, we are in direct association with Lord Sri Krishna himself. In the first canto, it is mentioned by Shukadev Goswami that, it could be Sutta Goswami, I'm not sure which one, but there in the first part, the introduction to the Bhagavatam, when the sages are speaking, it's mentioned that to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from an authorized source, to sit and hear this holy literature being read. This morning we heard it from disciples of Srila Prabhupada, and from Srila Prabhupada himself for that matter. He empowered them, trained them, and empowered them. That this is the same as having the direct association with the original form of the Lord, even. Same when we're before the deities, same when we chant the holy name. The benefit that we should receive, that we do receive, is the same as if we were in the presence of the original form of the Lord. So we should ask ourselves at that point, how do I benefit from chanting the holy names, from associating with the Shastra? The benefit is always there. There's always a benefit. I don't care if you're the most demoniac personality in the universe. You receive benefit. But we think, gee, if Lord Krishna were here, things would be different. I would be different. My life would be different if just he could show himself to me. And yet he does all the time. If we are auspicious enough to be in a community such as this, we are in direct association with the Lord constantly. What a blessing. So it's also brought out in this purport that to be in the presence of saints, the Lord's pure devotees, sages such as Narada and Vyasadeva, the four Kumaras, even our authorized gurus, pure devotees that may not even have a position, that may just be saintly persons within the yatra or congregation of devotees, believers. These are also non-different, these personalities. They're not God himself, they're not Krishna. But to have their association is the same as to having Krishna's association. And the thing that should be aspired to when we go to a holy place of pilgrimage is to have association with the Lord and the holy persons that live there. Not just to take a bath or to go to the restaurant or some such a thing as this, but to actually take association with the personalities that dwell there, especially the deity forms of the Lord and those saintly persons that the Lord puts in a community such as this for our benefit. So all of these things are what we call tirthas. They are places of pilgrimage. So here, Lord Krishna is present at this place of pilgrimage along with all the Vrishni dynasty and the residents of Vrajbhumi. They all come to Kurukshetra in order to chant the Lord's holy names and to do sacrifice during this time of the eclipse. And while the men are off in their place and the women are off in their place, contemplating what just took place and talking about it, what just took place, where the queens in the last chapter, Lord Krishna's queens from Dwaraka, are relating to the senior ladies from Vrajbhumi, from Goloka Vrindavan, how they came to acquire Lord Krishna as their husband. And then finally this association takes place between, just before that, this association takes place between Krishna and the gopis and Srimati Radharani. Just before that, the queens got to speak. And so there's been these meetings after times of separation. And everybody's contemplating what they just witnessed. And at that moment, what happens? Everybody's there talking amongst themselves, the women with the women, the men with the men, and a great throng of sages, not just any sages, these are the sages, the Mahajanas, the ones that oversee and give out the Siddhanta of devotional service as the Lord's direct representatives, and some of them are actually incarnations of the Lord himself, such as Vyasadeva, Dvayapayana, Vyasadeva. And as soon as the people notice that these sages are approaching, they all stand up to acknowledge them to acknowledge their presence, and to worship them, to make obeisances, to give them a proper greeting, to make sure that they're properly worshipped and seated. And Lord Krishna does the same. He does the same thing. This is a very interesting juxtaposition that takes place here, and later on in this chapter, it's actually highlighted as a very interesting point to take note of, and that is this, that these sages have come to see Lord Krishna. They have come to worship him because very soon he's going to depart back to the spiritual world. And so they've come to take darshan of their Lord in his original form, or it is his original form, although the original form from Goloka Vrindavan is still in Vrindavan. It never leaves there. That's a point that we won't get into this morning. But they come to take darshan of the original form of the Lord, to offer him worship, to his original personality. After they're worshipped and they have a chance to worship Lord Krishna, they're getting ready to depart. Lord Krishna then begins to speak to them in such a way, and that's these verses that we have here this morning. And what does Lord Krishna say? He says, how is it that people who are not very austere, like us, Krishna says, and who can only recognize God in his deity form in the temple, like us, Krishna is saying, how can these types of people touch you, inquire from you, bow down to you, and worship your feet, and serve you in other ways? And indeed, it's not the bodies of water and the places of pilgrimage like Kurukshetra that are the real sacred places of pilgrimage. It's sages like you who are the worshipable places of pilgrimage. It's not the places of pilgrimage of the demigods where people go and worship the demigods' images and bathe, and it's not even the places of pilgrimage themselves and the bodies of water that are there that are the places of pilgrimage, but it's sages like you, Lord Krishna says. And here these sages have come to worship Lord Krishna, and he's greeting them and saying, it's so good that it's auspicious for us normal folk that you've come so that we could worship you, because you are the real places of pilgrimage. You've come to benefit us with your presence. And it says that the sages, everybody, went silent in great wonder. I don't know what the space of that silence was. I'd have to go and look. But you just get this sense, everybody, Krishna worships these sages and looks to himself as if he's just a lowly, normal human being, and he's just been greatly benefited, and his life, the verses before these two verses this morning, he says that it's for the benefit of regular folk like us that you come, and our life is complete now, he says. Our life has been made auspicious by your presence. And everybody goes silent, absolutely dead silent, and are standing there and wonder, looking at Lord Krishna, the greatness of his humility, his utter and complete humility before the sages, and his complete and total worship of them. Krishna says, my devotees are my heart, and I am the heart of my devotees. Krishna also says, I'm just going to go through a few things, and I'm going to paraphrase. I'm really terrible with memorizing verses. I'm a lazy beast. Please forgive me. But I want to point out some of the things that Krishna said. I may not be able to quote them exactly. Krishna says that if someone does not look upon his representative, the spiritual master, and treat the master as being none different from him, that person is not accepted by him. He does not accept that person's worship. And here Krishna is showing us the example. The sages show up to see him, to worship him, to give their homage to him, most likely to thank him for his advent and for dispatching all of these demons and for what's about to take place. These are all sages that have foresight. They can see prescience. They're able to see what's about to take place. And Lord Krishna is going to deliver the world from demoniac kings, as he's already begun to do. So certainly they'll thank him for that and worship him. And Krishna turns to them and in his great humility worships them as the ultimate tirthas, the ultimate places of pilgrimage. And we should, what of us and those of us who are not anywhere near places of pilgrimage, who are actually lowly, homely folk, still struggling in anartha nivritti, how much more do we need to not only take shelter of the Lord's deity form, of his holy name, the Shastra, which is his Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, which is the literary incarnation, non-different from him as well, that the sages in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam in Canto 1 say that to associate with Srimad Bhagavatam is to get the same benefit as being in the presence of Lord Krishna's original form. But the same thing happens in the presence of Guru and of holy persons. The thing that happens in the presence of the Lord's holy name is the same thing that happens in the presence of his direct original form, is the same thing that happens in front of his deity form, is the same thing that happens in the presence of the Shastra, of saintly personalities, and of the bona fide spiritual master. You'll notice I never go beyond these points, it seems to me, because I think that everything else comes if we can get these things right. That to associate with the Lord is to purify our existence. And we have ways that we can associate with the Lord continuously. Continuously. I don't care what your state of life is, whether you're married, whether you're a brahmachari, whether you work, whether you're retired, whether you work at the temple or you live elsewhere and can only get here every once in a while, we can associate with the Lord continuously. He's given us so many ways, and it makes it so easy for us to do. And I can think of, I've been going through the Tamal Krishna Goswami talks since I arrived here. Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai. I've been going through the Tamal Krishna Goswami talks since I've arrived here. It's probably going to take me a while. I do one a day. He has quite a lot, so it's, probably a 10-year endeavor. I'm on the slow track, I guess. But he says it over and over again. He says, you make time for the things that are important to you. He says this all the time. You make time for the things that are important to you. There are no excuses in Kali Yuga. It's made so easy for us. And if we've come in contact with these holy books and with these holy people and these holy places in Iskcon, Srila Prabhupada has given us everything we need. He's built a house that the whole world can dwell in. He's come as a founder acharya. If you haven't read the new book by the BBT on Srila Prabhupada, the founder and acharya, you should read that and come to an understanding of what it is to be directly having we can I was alive when he was here. I didn't meet him. I didn't know him then. I was just a little kid. There's some that have actually met him and knew him. A founder acharya, to be in that close proximity to a founder acharya. There's only 4 other founder acharyas in Kali Yuga. That's the 4 founder acharyas of the 4 sampradayas. It's amazing. We have a founder acharya right there. And then to think of that Krishna comes only once in a day of Brahma. How long is a day of Brahma? Day and night of Brahma. Get the microphone and say it out loud, please.
$8.6 billion years.
8.6 billion years, roughly. It's an estimate. There's a few more numbers on there, but 8.6 billion years. He comes once in a day. He came 5,000 years ago. Think about how many zeros on a billion. Okay? Now think of 5,000, just 3 tiny little zeros. And then make that 2 zeros, 500 years ago. He came again. He came again. 500 years ago as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and came to give us the highest, absolute highest benediction that can be given. Love of Godhead. Not just any love of Godhead. He came to give conjugal love of Godhead, to spread it unlimitedly, no matter what your qualification. God, Krishna, normally only comes once in a day of Brahma, billions of years separated. Yet he was just here 5,000 years ago. And then he came again 500 years ago to give the highest benediction. He comes in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the combined form of Radha and Krishna, in order to reveal to the world in his own person perfect conjugal love of Godhead. And then not only that, he sends just a little, not even like in terms of billions of years, in terms of a day of Brahma, it's like a blink. He comes, just blink, and then there's Srila Prabhupada, penning it all down for the whole world. The whole world knows English. Everyone in the world is taught English, pretty much. Penned down in the English language. He comes as a liberated soul from the spiritual world, came with one purpose, and that is to establish Iskcon, to establish temples like this, to establish our movement. So we have no excuse. You make time for what's important for you. You make time for what's important for you. And if it's serving the needs of your body and giving God a wink once a week, then that's what you do. If it's filling your life up with service to Guru Maharaj, to Lord Krishna, filling up your life with service to our lordships. I did terrible in that regard this week. I got so engaged in what I was doing, in a project that I'm working on for my Guru Maharaj, I didn't show up on Saturday night, so I'm one to speak. But we make mistakes. We do make mistakes. It's not that we do these things perfectly, it's that we take all of our time and energy and we do our utmost and our best. And we do it with all the sincerity that we can muster. And Krishna promises that he will take our association. He'll give us his and take our association. Srila Prabhupada promises that if you'll just fill your life up with devotional service, fill your life up with devotional service. It's as simple as looking at a picture of Krishna while you're at your desk at work. and thinking of him. It can be that easy. And then doing your work for his pleasure. Taking your paycheck at the end of the week or end of the month and taking what you need to have your bare minimum to live comfortably enough that you can serve the Lord so you're not in distress, and then you give the rest to him because it belongs to him, all belongs to him anyway. To, getting up at 2:30 in the morning, donning a dhoti every day, and chanting your rounds, getting most of them done before Mangalarati. You young men are like places of pilgrimage for me. You inspire me. So it can be from one end to the other. It doesn't matter. You can be retired and do it that way. You can be a school kid and do it that way. He made it so easy for us. So you make time for that which is important to you. If going back to Godhead, if knowing Krishna is important to you, you will make time for it. So with that, I open it up for questions, comments, reflections, please. I want to hear what's in your mind. We all want to hear what's in your mind. Marcos.
Hare Krishna, thank you for class. I very much enjoyed your emphasis on commenting on the recency in which Lord Krishna came to this earth. We kind of hit the spiritual jackpot here. But I had a question, and so it's what can one do to further emphasize the notion or the fact that the Vedas, the Vedic literature, or the Srimad Bhagavatam is in fact the literary incarnation of Krishna.
How to emphasize that?
Yeah, it's like I don't believe it's strictly material. I understand it's transcendental. However, at times I find myself faltering over the fact that it is Krishna incarnate in literary form. So I was just wondering, what can one do to help emphasize?
We have to make an
fact.
Experiment. This is what Srila Prabhupada taught us, what my Guru Maharaj teaches his disciples. I've heard Tamal Krishna Goswami say the same thing. You have to make an experiment. So how you know that it's at least from God is that if you'll do what it says, it'll give you the experience that it promises quickly. It does it quickly. You can actually feel yourself becoming gaining in causeless knowledge and detachment. You can actually observe this happening. Your material desires become less. Your desire for Krishna becomes more. So this only happens in association with Lord Krishna, whether it be with his holy name, with the Shastra, with holy persons. It can happen no other way. You can't get this in association with demigods. You can't get this in association with anything but the Supreme Lord himself. I mean, it even happens in other religions that have been revealed by God. Christians fall in love with Krishna. They have the same idea, that not all of them now, that's going by the wayside now. Christianity has become something that's not even recognizable to the apostolic traditions. But it's the same idea, If you're becoming more and more like what the Shastras speak about, just in simple little things, like I'm desiring to get up in the morning and go worship the deities. I mean, who does that? Who likes to sit and chant the same words over and over and over again? I mean, you can sit down and go, Chuck Smith, Chuck Smith, Chuck Smith, Chuck Smith. It's not going to have the same effect, or, whatever. Chanting God's names, all of a sudden you begin to chant God's names and you become happier, you become more joyful. Everything in your life starts smoothing out and you go, wow, what is this? These people were right. That's how you know you're having association with God directly. Because your life becomes divine little by little by little. And if you'll do it 24/7, which any human being is capable of doing this 24/7, theoretically. But you're capable of doing it 24/7. So if you'll do it 24/7 for no other motive but to gain Krishna and his association and to please him, then you actually become fully satisfied. Does anybody here know what it's like to be fully satisfied? Have you ever been fully? I've had moments where I've been fully satisfied. Moments. They become longer and longer in between the not satisfied, but to be fully and completely satisfied. When I'm with my Guru Maharaj, I'm satisfied. I feel very satisfied. But I cannot think of a time when I've been ceaselessly satisfied. But if we can get to the place where we are offering devotional service to Krishna without ceasing and without any other motivation but to please him, we will become satisfied. And that's the ultimate way you'll know. You have to do the experiment. So, how auspicious that you're here. You have the opportunity. Who else? Anyone? Pranahari Prabhu.
So it says that that the places, the bodies of water and the images purify after a long time.
Can you?
Yeah, it says these purify only after a long time, but saintly sages purify one immediately upon being seen. So I was wondering if you can comment on that point about the time factor there, and how there's a juxtaposition of efficacy according to time.
How to actually, give a measurement of the efficacy is, who knows? It probably has more to do with that person's disposition of heart and how they approach and so forth and so on. But anyone, for instance, who goes to bathe in the Ganges is going to receive some level of purification. Some may receive more than others, but it is not something that can purify instantaneously. I'm sure it has the capability for the right person, but generally speaking, no, it's not. The Ganga is not going to purify one instantaneously. Now, Bhagavad Gita, association with the Bhagavad Gita, by hearing one shloka from Bhagavad Gita with perfect attention, that can purify you. That can purify you of lots of sin. So how to measure the efficacy, I don't know that there's a way to do that, but I can say that when I first met my Guru Maharaj, and just in looking at him, I knew this was my Guru Maharaj. And in the first 10 minutes of associating with him, I not only just seeing him, I was changed. Like my whole heart, just in seeing him, my whole heart submitted to him. I knew this was my Guru Maharaj. I was at the ashram in Denver. He was coming up the steps. We were all playing kirtan to greet him as he was coming to spend time with the Denver Brahmachari ashram and the Denver Yatra. And they all told me he's coming. I really wanted to meet him. And I didn't know how I was going to do this devotional service, this Krishna Kai. I was doing devotional service for many years, but how to do this highest form of bhakti in Vaishnava Sampradaya, I had no idea, because when I left monastic life as an Orthodox monk, I promised myself that I would never submit myself to another human being as far as I lived, because I said, they're not here anymore. There's no one pure enough to give that kind of guidance. I'm just going to have to cast myself on the Lord's mercy. And that tradition had the same idea. You had to have a pure guide in order to finish the job, or I'll, have to do something else. But when he showed up and I looked at him, my whole being submitted to him, and within the first 10 minutes of taking his association, I knew beyond a shadow of doubt, and I was changed. Because immediately as I began later that day to pick up the Shastra and to read it, there was a efficacy and an understanding, an effect, a level of bliss or detachment, whatever you want to call it, that I experienced as a result of that meeting. So the saintly devotee, bona fide spiritual master, the great sages like the ones in this particular passage in the Shastra, they are non-different from Krishna in a way that a holy tirtha can never be. And that's the point. Pranahari.
Sorry, my question was more asking your experiences of that and just elaborating more. But since you brought it up about the time, actually there's a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita which says, I forget the Bengali, but Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha, that basically that's translated as 1/11 of a second of association with a pure devotee will give thee the benefit.
Jai. 1/11 of a second. So has anybody had 1/11 of a second association with a pure devotee and one of our swamis? Your material life is finished. You might as well just give it up now. It's finished. So you don't need to hang on.
Chaitanya Charitamrita Prabhu, when he was just out of high school, he saw Prabhupada at the Rath Yatra in San Francisco in 1974. And that must have been...
It was Chaitanya Charan? I'm sorry?
Chaitanya Charitamrita Prabhu.
Chaitanya Charitamrita Prabhu, yes.
So he was relating that, and it must have accelerated his spiritual life tremendously.
Indeed. This happened many times with Srila Prabhupada. There were instances where Srila Prabhupada would come through an airport, coming or going to a particular city where there was a temple and devotees. And, businessmen who didn't know him from Adam would make dandavats. They would see him, and that was what their spirit soul and the super soul had them do. It was obvious to them just by seeing that this was not a normal personality, an average or mundane personality. That this was someone unique and significant. And indeed, he is very unique and significant to us. If you've never read the small book by the GBC, Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of Iskcon, it's small, you can read it in a few sittings. I would say take longer because it's very meaty, but you should read that and see the declaration that our GBC has made about who Srila Prabhupada really is. He is the house that the whole world can dwell in. So, anyone else? Yes, Doug?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. On the topic of the saintly devotees, how they can purify so much, they have so much more potency than, I guess, any of the holy places. It reminds me, it seems to align with the stages of realization of the absolute truth. And when we're associating with the pure devotee, we're actually getting the personal aspect of Krishna, whereas with the others, it's more impersonal. It's not, you don't really get that immediate reciprocation. And Just gave me that reminder.
Everybody hear that? Could you say it again? Put the mic a little bit closer. That was a really significant point.
Yeah, I was just saying with the pure devotees, in alignment with the different stages of realization of the absolute truth, how we have more of the Brahman, Paramatma, and the Bhagavan. We get the personality himself, Krishna himself. We get that through associating with the devotees, because there's immediate reciprocation, and we can actually experience the affection that they're sharing. Whereas with the other holy places where we're bathing, we could easily not really derive any of the real loving exchange through it, or real personhood.
Unless it's one of the holy dhams, like Vrindavan, Govardhan. Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Ki Jai. I wish we could keep going, but we're going to have to call it a class. Thank you for listening to me today, and thank you for your mercy. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki, all the assembled devotees Ki, Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyeva Patitanam Pavanyebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Well, it's nice to see you come in.
All glories, all glories, all glories to His Grace, Rasika Siromani Das Brahmachari. Hari Hari Bo. quick announcement. Today's Elena's birthday. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Please wish her happy birthday and try to do something for her. Hari Bol. It's her birthday today, okay? So make a cake for her or something, if you get time.